40 seconds of Legos. 100 seconds of showing off which high-profile actors they got for this pretty much straight-to-DVD film. Would a kid not notice gray sludge in their chicken nuggets? I know McDonald's has awful chicken byproducts in their nuggets, but this would be noticeable. This movie has a huge obsession with chickens. I wonder where the zombie virus's origins are.
This is a no cell phone campus, and we can't ask the kids to give up something we're not willing to, so hand over that crackberry.
No cell phone campus? While it seems like this principal is trying to be overly equal for an elementary school, cell phones are definitely an adult necessity in today's times. What if there's an emergency and kids start turning into zombies? This girl just started developing welts and boils on her face, and not a single adult or teacher acknowledges this? Why are kids popping prescription drugs like candy in the middle of class? So we can see here that the infection only affects adolescents and is nullified in adults, considering the douchey kid was bitten as well as Frodo. Could have stopped this if you would have just paid attention to the sick girl instead of having quirky dialogue about guns, dicks, novels, and vaginas. Is no adult gonna chase after the girl that had her pigtail ripped off and bit someone's face off? The girl is seen trying to dig her way out of school grounds instead of trying to infect all the kids around the schoolyard near her. The infection rate apparently culminates faster from a bite or scratch than directly consuming the source of chicken nuggets. This boy literally just got scratched and turns, yet the girl at the start eats a nugget for breakfast and spends about an hour turning. These turned kids obviously look to infect any other kids possible, scratching anyone they can reach. Why does the girl ignore everyone on her way out then? So kids will only infect other kids but will literally cannibalize adults? Is this like a reverse symptom of a disease like chickenpox, where the older you are, the less effective the symptoms are? Chickenpox. There's chickens everywhere. I've made the connection! These hordes of zombie kids are eating teachers like a buffet, but ignore the character actor known as douchebag. So these kids aren't really zombies, but infected, and still have some semblance of being children playing with Weird Al Yankovic before eating him. Didn't their parents teach their kids to never play with their food? The kids just now decide to notice character actor douchebag so that he can have this quirky one-liner.
What the fuck is happening?
These kids stand back from douche and don't attack him until he bolts off, giving him time to get indoors. If only they did the same for Principal Yankovic. Not only does this kid know exactly where the phone system for the school is, but in his infected state, perfectly cripples the communication system for the school. So the drugged up gamer from Breaking Bad got a job as a police officer, gets his fingers bitten off by a kid through a fence, and the girl has the forethought to get into the police car before him like the Frillosaurus in Jurassic Park and somehow kill him? Aren't cops usually armed with pepper spray and or a gun? Couldn't he have defended himself? Apparently the disease makes this kid stronger, enough to break the lock from inside a locker, but not enough to break the lock on school doors?
They got Cooties.
What?
Oh, it's Cooties! Oh, they said it, it's Cooties! So it does affect adults, but very mildly with flu-like symptoms like
my hypothesis
stated earlier. So this is basically 28 days later, but if the kids could play around with the corpses of the dead. While gory as hell, I gotta love the creativity. -1 sin. Babies apparently convert the second they get punched. Huh. Never thought I'd say something like that. Moms are apparently oblivious to their children being covered in blood before getting in the car. Apparently, the infected kids also have increased dexterity to jump and climb trees easily. Quick, hide this virus before the government weaponizes it and has armies of cootie kids in other countries. You legally aren't allowed to show direct violence with kids in media, just have cuts. So we can't effectively say how douche took him out, but we can assume his head was crushed in, I guess. Nope, the kid is still intact externally.
showing the beginning stages of necroptosis and decomposition. All these black areas are basically dead. I mean, they can run, jump, eat, but they're not human anymore.
An actual analysis of the zombie outbreak in a horror comedy showing how it affects them internally, leaving most of the brain dead but allowing increased motor functions in certain parts. So basically like The Walking Dead's explanation at the end of season 1. So they are zombies, -1 sin.
But what about Clint and Tamara? All it did was make them sick.
I have a theory about this. Tamara, have you achieved menses?
Asking you if you've had your period yet.
A legitimate explanation to how the virus is affected by estrogen and testosterone, and that it's only effective to those who haven't experienced puberty. Basically, it's like having a partial immunity like in 28 weeks later, but instead of genetic immunity, it's because you're having your period. Wouldn't be a somewhat apocalyptic movie without having a kid with a medical condition. Closing the door just in time for the zombies to slam into it cliche. Because air vents are always big enough for the smallest person in the group to crawl through. Yeah, Yeah, let's just sneak up behind the guy in the vents and grab his leg without saying a word. You're lucky your teeth weren't kicked in from pure adrenaline-filled reaction, lady. What kind of school has an activity room with a tricycle in it? And does this virus just make kids do kid things just creepier, kind of like some kind of weird Dead Space shit? So they do a montage of weapon creation, and I'm gonna either remove or add a sin depending on how actually effective they would be against fast-paced child zombies. An electrocuted flamethrower. Yes. Giant garden shears. Yes. A swinging fork mace. Yes and no. Effective, but only if you give yourself time to swing it around against one zombie. So minus and plus a sin. Drum cymbals? I guess you could cut them, but no. A makeshift baseball launcher? No. While a nice gag and says the face is the weak spot, just baseballs against zombies. This isn't Dead Rising. No. The original douchey kid understands what is said over the walkie-talkie. Oh, character actor douchebag knows how to make a baseball launcher that can fling a baseball with enough force to crush the skull of a kid. In one scene, we see douche with half a magazine left of baseballs, but just 5 seconds later without shooting anything else. Did they cut a scene in this where they shot more zombie kids?
My father told me story once. Story of frog and caterpillar.
All Asians are good at karate and give old Asian fable stories of animals for inspiration.
Okay, this story is taking way too long.
Looking in the background, I'm starting to notice that not all of these zombies are kids. I think I see full-grown adults and teens in the crowd. So either they couldn't find enough child actors, or a lot of people in this town never hit puberty. Character actor douchebag slowly spins a kid around for what seems like ages and does not get pounced. I wish I could care about this guy sacrificing himself like Daddy in Train to Busan, but he is such a douche and this redemption felt hammed in. Let's just sit here and stare while he gets eaten alive because other kids totally won't swarm us as well. The kid snuck on the truck before they left, and the truck is coincidentally out of gas? It's one kid's arm. Either stop the car now, or sucker punch that scrawny little bitch. This kid can survive skidding across pavement at 40 miles per hour, but the others can't survive a fastball to the face? Oh, come on! You're telling me an outbreak of zombie kids took out all of Cincinnati? An elementary school science teacher can make a vaccine from a chicken nugget? Never thought I'd say that in my life. These kids patiently wait for the adults to turn around and realize they are there. Closing the door in the nick of time for zombies to slam into it, part 2.
Somebody order a badass?
Oh, bullshit! Apparently super soakers are super effective. What are zombie kids? Rock, fire, or ground types? Okay, so it's full of gasoline, but it still doesn't explain why it held off hordes of zombies and made them back off.
Wait, how did you find us?
I always know where to find my dual reel.
And we're gonna end the movie on that awful recurring joke that just, it always fell flat.
Wow, wow, wow.
It's out of the park.
Wow! Left for dead, yo. The way them bitches get all cranial when you cap them in the head, it's like, booyah!
No, man. Resident Evil 4 takes it by a long shot.
Please, brother, you front.
No, man, seriously. That chick, the one you gotta rescue, she's smoking, bro.
Wow!
That's the scene that girl Shelly has. Cooties.
He said it! He said it! Wow!
Damn it, out of balls.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
And they become shacks, but Keith, he was about jumping right to the shack stage, but he had no wood.
Okay, this story is taking way too long. Wow!
Is there anyone out there who still isn't clear about what doing drugs does? Okay, last time. This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs.
Wow!